if we were to take a look at the history of wireless LAN security, you'd see a lot of different acronyms thrown at the landscape of what we've considered security through the few years we've been running wireless LANs. If you go back to 1997, the only real security we had was WEP. Now, WEP ran RC4-based hashing, which we knew even back in 97 that it was weak form of hashing. It was really a basic form of encryption that now any 13-year-old kid with access to the internet can figure out how to break it. It just takes a short amount of time, and we can break into any WEP-protected network. So WEP, which still stands for Wired Equivalency Protocol, is something you should really stay away from. Really, it's lazy security, and by lazy I mean if the hacker wants to get on your network and they don't want to bother going down the street to the next open access point, they're going to sit there and try and break in. So really you're taking advantage of the fact that there's a bunch of other open wireless networks around you. So the intended hacker isn't going to try and jump on your network. They're going to go jump on somebody else's network to use that for free access. If they really wanted to target you and get on your network and they saw you were running WEP, they knew that they would know right away the game's over. From there we went to the 802.1x form of authentication mechanisms. Now, 802.1x isn't an encryption mechanism like WEP is. It's really a method to discover the devices that are attaching to our network. So it's an authentication mechanism. So we have EAP, another acronym to throw out there, which is the Extensible Authentication Protocol. What this does is allow us to identify who the endpoints are and exchange certificates between a client device and the network without actually setting up any IP protocol to do so. So EAP comes along and allows us to, on a back-end basis using Radius, which is the Remote Access Dial-In User Service. It's been around since the Stone Ages, really. Radius has been around as long as Bellcore has been around, because Bellcore created Radius in order to do billing records for the telephone network, for AT&T. Radius has several different forms. What we use in the computer network security realm of things, quite a bit different than the original Bellcore spec. But today, Radius is used on the wire to transmit user authentication data to and from a router or switch or even an access point going to the network to a server holding a database of user accounts. Radius actually is a on-the-wire encryption protocol. People often label these in their diagrams as the Radius server or the TACAC server if you want the Cisco proprietary mechanism of doing roughly the same thing. The thing that you need to understand, though, is Radius isn't a server, it's a protocol. So it's an on-the-wire encryption protocol. The server is just an authentication server that has a database of usernames and passwords and the capabilities of those users. Either way, we started off with two separate forms of EAP, LEAP and PEEP. LEAP was the lightweight version, the lightweight extensible authentication protocol, and then PEEP, protected extensible authentication protocol. LEAP was later discovered to be weak as far as security is concerned based on how it was doing things, so it's certainly recommended today that you use PEEP or some other form of EAP. In 2003, there was a re-engineering of the wired equivalency protocol based on all the bad press it got, and deservedly so. So what the Wi-Fi group did is they came up with a technique to make WEP secure. So they really did an amazing job re-engineering the WEP protocol and renamed the acronym the Wi-Fi Protected Access Encryption Protocol. So WPA, which uses TKIP, the Temporal Key Integrity Protocol, to allow it to be more secure, certainly did help us quite a bit. It's not a perfect solution, but it was certainly a lot better than WEP. Today, though, really it's 802.11i, which is otherwise known as WPA2. In this case, we're using AES, the Advanced Encryption Standard, all the way up to 256-bit encryption, and we can use the authentication mechanisms available in EAP for a strong security presence with our enterprise-level wireless deployment.